Welcome to SantaPod and the finals of the FIA and the UEM European Drag Racing Championship. This is the main event and this is where champions will be decided.
Oh yes, and this programme we've got Pro Stock Car, Pro Stock Bike, the manufacturers' classes. We've got Super Twin, those incredible two-wheeled monsters, and of course the kings of the sport, Top Fuel Dragster.
It sounds so exciting, let's go straight there. These are the kings of the sport, between 7,000 and 8,000 horsepower and 0 to 300 miles per hour in just 4 seconds. It's the Top Fuel Dragsters.
Well, this weekend is the final round of the FIA European Drag Racing Championships, qualifying Friday night. Andy Carter from Great Britain. What a storming run, the quickest ever in Europe, 4.61 with great big header flames licking at the wing. That was absolutely fantastic. The weather that day wasn't great. The crowd waited around the whole day just to see that one run, and boy, was it worth waiting for. This is qualifying on Saturday. Could they do any better? Well, the answer was yes, 4.57, 320 miles an hour, the quickest and fastest run we've ever seen in Europe. That man, Andy Carter, really is after that championship this weekend.
Andy, you've had a difficult season, but you've come out here in the finals and just put down the fastest time that we've seen in Europe this year. You must be elated.
I'm so pleased for myself, the Lucas Oil team. The guys are doing a great job. It's been in the car for a long time, but it's just trying to get it out. These cars are so difficult to get down the track. Maybe people looking from the outside, not in our sport, maybe not understand that, but it is hard to get these cars down the track, but it's just great. But tomorrow's another day. We've got to do the business tomorrow.
It's such a close championship, Andy. There is an off chance that you could still win if things go your way.
Yeah, I can still win. Remember, I'm the 4-time champion and I'm looking for 5. And when my back's against the wall, that's when I'm the most dangerous. So the Lucas Oil team's going to come out fighting tomorrow.
Well, boys, I mean, what can I say to you? Well, really, the smiles tell it all. You've had this on the cards, this quick run all season, but suddenly, Per, it's happened. What's promoted this happening this weekend?
It's a combination of a lot of things, but mainly it's the track here that does the difference. We know the car could run those numbers. We run those numbers in the States earlier this year, so it was just a matter of time when the track came around, and it did.
Well, Carson, I mean, the track's coming around, but you've still got to get that car functioning properly. How have you managed it for this weekend? I mean, you've set a new European record. I don't think it's set in with you boys yet. I think you're just standing there looking at me. I mean, 4:57. I mean, it's one heck of a record.
It is, yeah. As Per said, we just came here and we hoped that the track would be here, and it was. And yeah, wow.
Well, that's the Anderson brothers, the crew chiefs or co-crew chiefs and owners for Andy Carter's car. They're the ones that made it all happen. Well, one man it really unfortunately hasn't happened for this summer is Mickey Kagarab with the Barco Express Top Fuel Dragster. And Mickey struggled in Hockenheim, big fire, same thing in Sweden, and unfortunately again, lots of trouble for the guys from Sweden.
Mickey, it's been quite a challenging year.
Yeah, it hasn't been good so far, but we still have this race left. But we have had problem with the motors, and we have sorted now. So I'm looking forward to have a good run.
Because you obviously want to finish it on a high, so it's great that you're bringing it back round. So this weekend here at the finals, it's looking better.
Yeah, it's looking better. The motor's looking good now. We have found the wrong with the bearings and everything. So now we're looking forward to have a good round. It's the setup now we struggle a little bit with, but I'm looking forward to have a good round.
Well, this weekend is all about crowning a European champion in Top Fuel. One of the guys that really wants to do that, Risto Pudiainen from Finland in the near lane with a bad to the bone Top Fuel car. big engine explosion on this qualifying run. He ran a 4.7 to eventually finish qualifying in the number 2 spot. But what are his hopes for this weekend? He really wants that title.
Risto, such an important weekend. You're really challenging for the championship title, but it's so close between you and Urs especially.
Oh yes, it is actually. Andy has a theoretical chance, but I think it's between me and Urs.
But qualifying, kind of mixed results. So what have you got to go and do tomorrow? You got to work hard tonight.
Well, yeah, we broke engine and blower and everything, but however, we are top second qualifier and personal best already. I think we are going to run faster than today or yesterday.
Do you think you can take the championship?
Of course, I'm 100% sure.
Well, 100% sure, but he's got to get past Anita Mekula in round 1. That's going to be so tough. Andy Carter is up against Mickey Kagarad. The real other close race in round 1 is Urs Urbacher against Jari Halonen. But first off, we have Janni Ahonen. He's going to be taking on Stig Neergaard from Denmark. I'm Darryl Bradford, joined here in the commentary box by John Price. John, what a weekend this has been so far.
Oh yeah, I think the whole thing has been set alight by Andy Carter running those magic numbers, setting a new European record in qualifying. And of course now everybody's expecting him to take the championship. This is the big excitement here at the moment. Let's watch these two.
Well, it's going to be Stig and Janni both the way together. And Stig smokes the tyres, Janni all the way through. Well, that's his first round win of the year, 5:03.281. He qualified in the 4s and so did Stig. That on paper should have been a real close race, but unfortunately too much horsepower for Stig. There you go, look at that, smoking the tyres, pedalling on and off the throttle, and Janni takes it.
Yeah, indeed. And he got out the traps first as well, of course, Janni Ahonen. So well done to him. He's through into the semi-finals. And we turn our attention to the next pair. Here he is, Jari Halonen. And this man, of course, in Hungary at an exhibition run earlier in the year, ran the first ever 5-second run in Hungary. But look who he's got to face here.
Yeah, some little chap by the name of Urs Urbacher from Switzerland. Urs really wants the championship. He's got to win this round to keep his championship hopes alive. If he wins, and Risto Putiainen wins as well, it's up to both of them as to who goes farthest today, as to who takes the title.
Got to tell you that qualifying, only a tenth of a second between these two. Just nothing in it. The top fuel qualifier has been so good. And look at this, Urbacher making no mistake at all. Really runs through there, smoke coming out of the engine. But what a great race. A 4.85 to a losing 4.98.
Well, with that run, look at that, side by side away together. That's why SantaPod Raceway's packed. Urs Urbacher really hurts the engine on the top end, but by the looks of it and by that win, it looks like he will actually take the crown in 2010 for Top Fuel. Well, the next race now is purely academic because Urs Urbacher is the champion. Anita Mekula from Finland with the great chicken rendering on the side of the car. She's up against Risto Putiainen.
Sounds a bit like the race of the butcher shop, this, doesn't it? It's the chickens against the bad to the bone dragster. But it is the chickens that get away second. Risto Putiainen gets away first, but it wasn't to be his race. Anita takes the win and Risto limps home.
Yeah, smoked the tyres almost immediately at the hit of the throttle for Risto. Anita's crew congratulating each other. In qualifying, they were in a great 4.7 elapsed time, but sadly, it didn't count because she crossed the centre line. But she got a lucky one through there. Risto's championship for this year, at least, is over.
Risto, we were all looking forward to you meeting Urs in the next round. That would have decided the championship. Unfortunately, that's not the case. What are your thoughts?
Well, what happened was we just were out of the groove and we lost it in the starting line with Anita, and I'm very disappointed, of course. But it's not the last page of the book. I'm coming next year stronger.
Well, I'm sure the rest of the Top Fuel field won't want a stronger Risto Putiainen. If you notice Anita's car on that run, the reason she probably shut off was because the front wheels were dancing off the ground at nearly 300 miles an hour. Not the sort of thing you want, John.
No, interesting stuff, that. I've always reckon that you really have to be a special type of person to drive one of these cars. When you consider the amount of horsepower you've got under your right foot, you really have to be in control of everything all the time. And sometimes somebody tries to tell you you're not in control. Usually it's the Dragster and that massive horsepower. But this is the one that everybody is excited about. Andy Carter. Is he going to run another 4-second run here? He's up against Mickey Cagrad and they're away together. Look at this. And Mickey suddenly loses it, and Andy is through the centre line. Oh my goodness me, I wasn't expecting that.
Nobody was, I don't think, especially the crew and all the crowd. If you watch again, Andy pedals the car, which means he gets on and off the throttle. It drifts out the groove, takes out the centre line blocks, and that's all she wrote for Andy Carter. Mickey Cagrad gets the win, and until that point where Andy crossed the centre line as well, Mickey was a little bit in front. What a shock.
Andy, yours has been a dramatic season from start right through to end. Here at the finals, you set a European record and then you come out and it's a disappointing run.
Yeah, we should have won the event today in the Lucas Oil car, but I've got to admit it was driver error. I made a bad mistake, but I haven't made a mistake for 6 years, so I suppose even the best have got to make a mistake every now and then.
How do you put this behind you now? You obviously got a lot of downtime before you come out again, but you put it out of your mind and come back here with that champion spirit again?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I'll be back next year. I want that 5th championship really bad. I'm as hungry as ever, but it doesn't go out your mind quickly. It'll be Thursday before I wake up and become what I call normal.
Well, that was the biggest shock of the race after the great performance in qualifying. Andy Carter out in round 1. The man who beat him, Michael Cagrad, is against Jani Ahonen, and Anita Mekela is up against Urs Urbacher. The first race we're going to see is Mickey against Yanni. Now, both of these guys, big surprise they got past round 1, John.
Yeah, indeed. And that has been the thing of this race meeting now. Andy Carter going out. All of us old stagers who've been there for so long were expecting Andy to really work his magic here this weekend. He's come from so many points behind in the past and ended up as champion. This time it wasn't to be. And Mickey Cagrad getting through into round 2. Could this be the start of the resurgence of form for Mickey Cagrad? I sincerely hope so. But he's up against the man from Finland, and this man, of course, is a downhill skier when he's not in his dragster.
Yeah, Jani Ahonen in the winter throws himself off massive ski jumps. He's 4 Hills tournament champion. He was in the Olympics. I think he was either 4th or 5th in the Olympics last winter as well. Very, very famous guy up there in Finland. But Mickey Cagrad, it has to be said, was ahead of Andy Carter before Andy went over the centre line. So Yanni and Mickey, let's see who it's going to be in the final. Mickey again way out in front. Oh, what a big shame. He actually clicks it off, and Yanni with a 5.11, 265. Well, consistency takes it. All those 4-second runs, and Jani Ahonen through into the final with 2 5s, would you believe?
I'll tell you what, the interesting thing with those two was that they had identical reaction times. Watch this, away from the start line. They went a synchronised start line leaving. That was absolutely incredible. And it was Yanni who took the win. Just going across the finish line, Mickey's race was run, unfortunately. So, Yanni into the final. But who is he going to be facing? It's the classic battle of the sexes here.
It certainly is, and Switzerland against Finland as well. We already have 1 Finn in the final. Can Anita make it 2? The blue dragster from Valupala in Finland. That's Anita Mekela on the far side of the racetrack. Urs Urbacher from Switzerland, now European champ. They're both away together, storming side-by-side run. Anita's car quits. Urs with another puff of smoke through the finish line. 4.90, 304 miles an hour. What a great shame. Anita was right with him all the way down the racetrack there.
Yeah, it's what I always like to say is a great, great race. Let's watch this again. Start line reaction, nothing in it between the two of them. Look at this, door handle. Oh, they don't have doors, do they? Door handle to door handle, I was going to say. But it is Urbacher. He's heading towards the final, doing so well this weekend. You are now the European champion.
Yeah, that's right. We got it back after 2007, and we're really excited because this is a long time, 3 years, no champion, but now we are.
Well, that's it then. The final is Finland against Switzerland. Jani Ahonen against Urs Erbacher. If Nita could have taken that one, it would have been an all-Finnish final, and not for the first time this year as well. As you could see, Anita's car started picking the front wheels up as the clutch came in going down the racetrack. That's more than likely why she had to click it off. That can't be a nice feeling at a few hundred miles an hour.
No, not to have your front wheels in the air, definitely not. No, you lose steering, of course, and then the car can take you where it wants. But the interesting thing here with Jani Ahonen coming up against Urs Erbacher is, for us Brits, the crew chief for Urs Erbacher is, of course, this man, Robin. And Robin Grice, it's his first year as crew chief for Urs. And my God, isn't he doing a great job?
Well, not a big task at all to win. I am understating, of course, your first championship in your first year as a tuner. These things are notoriously difficult to get down the racetrack. Jani and Urs both away together, but it's Urs already pulling out a lead off the line. Oh, the engine goes sour at the finish line, but he does take it. 488 to 498. A great side-by-side 4-second run for the crowd. What a way to cap your championship season, John.
Yeah, indeed. And look at this, the crew all crowding round Robin. No wonder they all look so happy. That is absolutely fantastic. Watch this again. Just nothing between them on the start line. Urs with a slight advantage, but that was all. And heading towards the top, Urs' engine went away first, and then the opponent's engine went away as well. But it's Urs Erbacher, for the second time in his career, is the European top fuel champion. Well done to him. I'll tell you what's a good thing. Today, you're the new champion. Today, you won the event.
Yeah, that's great, but we know that because we win the main event, and always when we win the main event, we win the championship every year.
And how good are you feeling about that?
Really great. We have a lot of pressure of us because first time we tuned by ourselves, and Robin make a great job for me, and he was nervous too the whole year, but it pays off.
Pays off big time. Urs Erbacher over 100-point lead in the end off Risto, and Anita Mekula ends up at 3. Great year for her.
This weekend, everybody, the murmur in the pits is about the quality of the track. What's the secret here?
Yeah, we have worked extra hard. We've done a lot of work on the track to make it really fast for this round. That was our plan. Over the last week, we've done some extra special preparation on top of what we would normally do.
So what will that entail then, Keith?
Scraping all the rubber off, taking all the rubber off, re-preparing, making it so it's ultra fast and not likely to go away at any time during the weekend. And in fact, they had to do that again at 9 o'clock last night. But we have got a good baseline here on this track, to use a tuning term. So we knew we'd got it right, and the guys had done a fantastic job here, made the track fast. We knew the cars would come in with real fast setups in them. It was if we could give them the track, records would fall, and records fell.
They're all here behind me. Next up, it's Pro Stock Bikes.
Well, the little two-wheel rockets that are Pro Stock Bike, over 300 horsepower, they really are something to see. One of the guys mixing it up in 2010, Jesper Thiel.
Jesper, the championship's out of reach, but #1 qualifier.
Yeah, it was pretty good. We had a good setup from the base, from the start, out of the trailer, and now we're just tuning for more, and hope really to get some good numbers here.
Well, he got some very good numbers indeed. #1 qualifier in Pro Stock Bike. 16 bike field this weekend is no mean feat at all. The bike used to be owned by Tom Tindan. It was a record-holding bike then. But moving on with some more qualifying numbers. Gert-Jan Lesueur in the far lane, and he qualifies with a 782 on this run. 736 with Frederick Friedland. But before we get to some more racing from Great Britain, Martin Bishop's had a torrid year.
Martin, you've had a difficult season. That's probably an understatement. When we speak to you, so much has always gone wrong. But it looks like it's turned around, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. We've ironed out all our problems. The new clutch setup we've been trying to work on, we finally got it working. So we look forward to eliminations now.
You're out of the championship battle, but what can you achieve this weekend? What will make you go home with a bit of a smile, Martin?
A personal best would be fantastic. It's a new bike, and like I say, it takes a while to get it dialed in. We've had engine problems, clutch problems, chassis, everything's gone wrong. But now it's all come together at the finals, and hopefully we can do well.
Well, one man who surprisingly struggled during qualifying but still took the European title from Sweden, defending champ as well, Ulf Erger.
Ulf, you're always happy when I speak to you, but even more so now because we have a new Pro Stock 2010 winner. Congratulations.
Thank you. It feels really good. We hope to do it again.
What does that mean for the weekend now, though, Ulf? Will you just go out and enjoy it? Is the pressure off? Or do you still want to go out and push it and get better times and just, kill your opponents?
We're going to kill them tomorrow. We celebrated the Pro Stock Championship Thursday, and now we're here to win this race, so we're going to win tomorrow again.
So you're going to push it that bit further?
Yes, certainly.
In usual Ulf Erger style?
Yes, kill them all.
Well, believe it or not, he really is great friends with everybody, but on the racetrack he does want to just kill them all. He's up against Anders Abrahamsson. That's a great match. We had a 16-bike field for Pro Stock Bike at SantaPod Raceway. This is Kalle Liren up against, in the other lane, Dave Beck. What a close race this was, John.
Yeah, indeed. Look at this. Right at the top. Kalle gets it. Just in front of Dave Beck. Dave Beck, many times British champion, just couldn't hold off the onslaught of the Videk man.
That was such an unbelievably close race. You couldn't get a cigarette paper between the pair of them at the finish line. So Kalle goes to the semi-final. His dad Roger's going to be very happy with that. The matchup I just mentioned next, Ulf Erger, the bike line team. They've already got the number 1 for next year in UEM Pro Stock Bike, up against the man who would be number 2, Anders Abrahamsson from Sweden. Both of these guys from Sweden, one with a super twin, one with a 4-cylinder bike.
Yeah, it is indeed. And it's always Ulf Erger. That's the way this guy wins races. He gets the better start line reaction, just slightly in front of Anders Abrahamsson, and takes the win. Look at that, a 7.14 to a losing 7.28. Great drag race, and I think what he predicted is going to come true. Not only is he going to be the champ, he's well on course to take the win here this weekend.
Definitely trying to kill them all this weekend. Look at that great launch from the bike line machine. No mistakes at all, and low ET of the weekend so far. That's why his crew are so happy on the start line. Anders Abrahamsson with a lot of horsepower though, 182 miles an hour against the Buell's 183. Great race. The next one, Fredrik Friedland from Åland. That's him there with the PAF Suzuki, and Fredrik won the last race in Gardermoen in Norway. He's going to be up against Stavros Sfraknos.
Yeah, Stavros has done really well here this weekend. Number 3 qualifier, running again for the Vadek squad, as we just saw Carl Lyron run. And it is Stavros who gets away first. Wow, that's incredible. Fredrik coming back mid-track. This could be anybody's. Who gets it at the top end? Stavros Sfraknos gets it. A 7.28 to a 7.26. That was won on the start line. Better start line reaction from Stav. Watch this. Just slightly in front of the man from Åland. And he goes through into the next round.
Well, Fredrik Friedland, I'm sure, very happy that the bike's running really good again, but unfortunately not happy with that round exit. Stavros Sfraknos doing very, very well indeed. So he's going to face in the semi-final. No mean task at all. Ulf Erger in the other semi, Gertland the Sur against Kalle Liren, and that's the one we're going to see first. Both 2 Vadek bikes in the semis, John.
Yeah, it's just what I was going to say. Roger Lyron, as the team boss, must be very, very pleased with this. Not only has he got Stavros Sfraknos in there, but also his young lad, who is really going to make a name for himself in this class, let me tell you. Still very, very much a youngster, but coming up against the big, tall guy. Gert-Jan Lasseur, he's a man on a twin cylinder, so you've got 4 cylinders playing 2 cylinders here. This could be anybody's race. They're running almost identical times.
They certainly are. Gert-Jan's been in the 7.2s as well. Wheel to wheel all the way down, handlebar to handlebar. Let's see where the wind light goes. Oh, what a fantastic race again. 7.27 to 7.28. That's Carl's dad there. That's Roger Lyron with the cap on, dancing around like he's enjoyed himself. His boy is going to the final.
Indeed. So just watch this again. And it was Carl who just got away first in front of the big guy, Gert-Jan Lasseur, and takes the win. Look at that, a 7.27 to a 7.28. Fabulous drag racing. Fabulous.
Well, Pro Stock Bike by definition is very, very close, as is Pro Stock Car, which we should be seeing very shortly. We know who one member of that final round's going to be. Let's see if it can be another Vadek bike. Stavros Sfraknos from Greece but he really does have a task on his hands. Number 1 and low ET so far the weekend, Ulf Erger.
Yeah, indeed. And once again, Ulf is the man who is the quickest out of the traps. He leaves first, leaving Stavros to chase, and it is a 7-1 to a 7-3. That was a convincing win for the new champion. Well done, Ulf Erger. It isn't going to be 2 Veideck bikes in the final. It's going to be Ulf Erger. Let's just watch it again, though. Great to see. You can see Ulf leaves so early in front of Stavros, and it's all the way through. He doesn't let go. He's like a bull terrier, isn't he? He will not let go. Once he's got that lead, he'll just shake and shake and shake until he wins.
Ulf Killamall Erger, and he's definitely doing it today. He's in the final against Kalle Liren. Kalle steps up and takes his shot against the man that wears the number 1. They're both from Sweden. They're both real good friends off the racetrack, but as we always know, when you get out there on the start line with your crash helmet on and your visor down, no prisoners taken at all. The Veideck gang, that's Kalle Liren and the bike line team from the south of Sweden. Ulf Erger, he really wants to put an exclamation mark on his season by taking the win.
Well, of course, all the crowd here, they're either cheering for the 2-cylinder or the 4-cylinder bike, for the youngster or the existing champion, but it is the existing champion. Did exactly what he said he was going to do. He takes the win so consistent, 7.17, but Kalle Liren, so good, 7.24 on the lose there. Nothing to be ashamed of at all. That was absolutely fantastic. Now, just watch this, away from the start line. And it is Kalle who gets away first. He really did set the benchmark there, but it was Ulf Erger who took the win, and he's now confirmed as winner and champ.
Ulf, my way to speak to you, I was trying to think of a different angle because you just keep winning, so it's always a real positive, upbeat interview with you.
Yeah, I told you yesterday we're going to take them out to everybody, and we did.
Now, everyone around you, though, Ulf, is getting better. The competition in this particular class is so strong. What are you going to have to do to keep ahead in 2011?
We're going to go down a couple of pounds, but we do that.
Really? It's a weight thing, aerodynamic?
Yeah.
But at the moment, 2010, it was yours. You'd wrapped up the title quite early on. Was it just a brilliant year for you?
Yeah, it was a brilliant year. Five rounds and 5 finals, so it feels pretty good.
Well, a massive points win for Ulf Erger. Anders Abrahamsen second, Fredrik Friedland third, and the man in that final, Kalle Liren, in his first season, gets 7th.
Well, if you think that this is Escape from a local zoo or something, you'd be a little bit wrong, let me tell you. If you like your racing in the 6-second bracket and the qualifying times so close together, you can hardly get anything between them, this is the class for you. It's Pro Stock Car.
Well, FIA Pro Stock Car has a new twist at the European Finals. From Great Britain, the first ever entrant into Pro Stock, this is Conrad Stanley. One of his licensing runs in a car purchased from Sweden. He's doing great so far.
Can't remember when there has ever been a British Pro Stock driver. Give me your thoughts.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to joining the ranks. It's a really big step up for us, and all we can do is try our best. I mean, we're in at the deep end. We've got a lot of help from the guys that are already in the class. They're giving us so much help to try and make it as easy as they can for us. But already we've hurt a lot of clutch parts, and I'm sure we're only at the beginning of our learning curve. Really enjoy what we're doing. We know sometimes things aren't going right in the car, but right now it's a case of getting the license. So although we might be damaging parts, we're getting down the track and doing what we need to for the license. As far as getting the performance out of the car, I think by learning, by hurting, we're learning, and eventually we should be, I won't say competitive, but at least be qualifying, and we'll work from there.
Well, Conrad's on to qualifying, but there is a championship to settle this weekend. And by virtue, literally, of turning up, he was that far in front. That's outgoing champion Jimmy Orland, but the new man who's going to be wearing the number 1 in 2011, Michael Malmgren, in the La Haga car in the far lane. In qualifying, both of them fly away from the start line, but it is Michael's title this year.
We are very proud for Lahega, Oakley, everybody in the team worked very, very hard the whole season. We've been running very, very consistent, and it has paid off. And by running 6:77 last night, we closed the door for the championship, and now we're out of reach. It feels really, really nice. So now we're just going for this race, to reach the finals here. That would be nice.
Now, you are number 2 qualifier, but in your last qualifying session, you were the fastest car on track with the new hat on.
Yeah, we were the fastest car on track. We picked up a couple of hundreds, and the other guy slowed down. So it was a nice improvement. I mean, I have a very, very good team. I mean, they really, squeezing everything and look into all the details. They work very, very hard here. Tim, Jerry, Mickey, Thomas, everybody, involved. So I feel very, very proud, very happy.
So, Michael, what can you go on to do this weekend to seal that championship title?
Well, put some ice on the cake and win this race. That would be nice.
Well, another man who's done great in 2010 with a Pontiac GTO from Sweden, Michael Collin, was leading the championship for a time, now fighting it out for number 2.
Michael, it's been a great year for you up until Hockenheim. What went wrong?
It was not. The problem started at Mantorp, where we didn't qualify, and at Hockenheim, I screwed up and pulled the chute too early. So there was a complete finish with the championship chase. So,
do you think that really has put you out of championship contention? Can you bring it back somehow this weekend?
No, it's impossible. Michael Malmgren has won the championship as soon as he qualified. So
ideally then, what would you like to go and achieve this weekend at the European Finals here at SantaPod?
Yeah, beat the snowball, so I get the second place.
Well, by beating the snowball, he means beat Jan Palmqvist. Those two are duking it out this race for number 2 in the championship. This is Michael Collin in the far lane in the blue GTO, qualifying alongside Tommy Landau. Now, in qualification, Michael Collin ended up all the way down at the number 6 spot. We're not used to seeing him that far down. So, some great round 1 matchups. Baptism of fire for Conrad Stanley. He gets number 1 qualifier and defending European champ, Jimmy Orland. But Pro Stock's always tight, isn't it, John? And this weekend's been no exception.
Yeah, it's not a good class to learn in, I have to tell you. It's you have to go from being a pupil to being a master almost overnight, and it's not that easy, is it? But our first pair that we're looking at, the tall guys, another very, very tall man, Tommy Landau. And Tommy was our number 5 qualifier, and he's up against Samsa Palos. And look, just watch who goes through here. It is Samsa. Hey, that was a big surprise to me.
Well, not only was Conrad learning this weekend, this is Samsa's first ever weekend in a Pro Stock car. He drove in another car similar in Finland, but this is his first ever race behind the wheel of this car. Not only does he qualify well, he outran Tommy Landau by a car length. So he's into the semis in his first ever race. Driving the Cobalt for Mikko Osterberg that was driven last year by Richard Nixon Sunderland, doing such a great job. Right, this is the race that determines the second place in the championship. It's already sewn up for the title to Michael Malmgren. That's the man called Snowball. In the yellow car is Jan Palmqvist and Mickey Collin in the blue GTO.
Well, yeah, they're both in Pontiac GTOs. This very slippery shape here for the manufacturer's class, and away they go together. Now there's hardly anything in them as they head towards the top end. Collin really hanging on, but it is Jan Palmqvist who takes the win. Well, that has just ruined Mickey Collin's day. Look at that. Palmqvist just slightly out in front. How close is that? Wow. That is another great drag race. This European Finals has brought together some of the finest drag racing drivers, and we're seeing great races out there on the track.
Well, Yanni Palmqvist as well, number 2 by virtue of a 500th of a second hole shot. Whatever happens for the rest of the day, he will be wearing the number 2 in 2010. But the man who won the championship that will be number 1 next season, the Lahega GTO, Michael Malmgren, up against his former car, that's Jonas Dantanas.
Yeah, indeed. And Michael really showing them how to do it. Gets away first and takes a very significant win. Look at that, a 673 to a 684. Again, fantastic drag race, a 10th of a second between them on the finish line, but Michael leaving first as well. Dantanas comes back, but it's Michael who takes the win. Hey, the champ is through to the next round.
Well, he's not champ for nothing in 2010, Michael Malmgren. Great number as well, 6.73, around about his personal best as well. So our final pair will be Jimmy Orland up against Conrad Stanley. Now, Jimmy's raced against this car a number of times. It used to be owned by Magnus Hansen, bought by Conrad to come play with the Pro Stock boys. Nothing like we said, a baptism of fire or in at the deep end.
Oh, most definitely. And problems, unfortunately, for Conrad. He said he'd been hurting parts all the way through his learning curve. Allows Jim to run on his own. And look at that, a 6.70 unopposed. This is how the semi-finals look then. SantaPodTV comes up against Jimmy Oland. Michael Malmgren against Jan Palmqvist.
Well, SantaPodTV is having a real hard day as well. His first ever time in Pro Stock, and he gets to race Jimmy as well. So the first semi-final is going to be Jan Palmqvist up against Michael Malmgren. Now, Michael's on a real high at the moment. He's just won the championship, wants to finish the season in style by taking the race win as well. Jan Palmqvist has been very, very close to him all year. This is 1 and 2 in the championship this season.
And Michael does it again. He gets a whole shot away from the start line, leaves Jan Palmqvist chasing, and Michael takes the win. Well done to him. A 6.81 to a 6.80, 1 on the start line. And look at this. Again, door handle to door handle. Pro Stock racing at its best.
It certainly was. Yanni Palmqvist just ran out of room to track Michael down. He won a bigger speed as well, 204 to 202, but it's the start line reaction and the ET that won it for Mike Malmgren. He's in the final, and he's going to be coming up against one of these two. From Finland in the Chevy Cobalt, that's him there in the blue car. SantaPodTV up against the Klimpbergen Way car of Jimmy Orland. Now, Jim missed half of the season, sadly, because he went to race in the States, but he's been nothing but good ever since he came back.
And not only is he good on the runs as well, he's good on start line reactions. He whole shots the Finnish driver and goes right the way through. Look at this, Jimmy Oland at his best and a run of 6.69. How is it you managed to get a handle on every track?
I don't know. We work hard, I guess.
But he's doing very well again, isn't he? He's been away for a little while. It must make you feel real good to see he come straight back doing so well.
Yeah, it's always fun to run a 69 here.
Is he going to win this weekend?
We'll try.
Well, modesty is something that team do very, very well indeed, but they are so good at what they do. Jimmy Orland runs the first 660, a lapse time of the weekend, an absolute trounce of SantaPodTV. Samsa had a great weekend though, in his first time ever driving that race car. So the final is Jimmy and Michael, and I think Jim might want to exact some revenge on Michael for nicking his title.
I think you're right, but the number of times we must have seen these two race one another. And I have to say, in my humble opinion, and it is pretty humble, as you well know, usually it's Jim who wins, and I think quite often it's a psychological win. But Mike is on a high this weekend. I'm so pleased that the La Haga car, Michael Malmgren, very professional outfit, have taken the championship. But can he do a double? Can he get the championship, and can he beat Jimmy Oland?
Well, unbelievably, Mike Malmgren out first by about 0.04 of a second. The big horsepower of the GTO, though, the Klimpbergen Way car of Jimmy Orland takes the win, 673 to 681. Those guys have been absolutely flawless again all weekend. If you look at that, Mike moved just that split second first, but then it was all Jimmy. That car has so much power, and they are so good at tuning it and putting it down the racetrack. A real team effort, and they're so good to have them back again.
We really needed a win this season because it's been a tough season for us with traveling in the States and a lot of traveling, and we had some bad luck when we got back here, but finally now we could run the final and we won it. So, and I really want to thank all my sponsors that have been sticking with me because I wasn't back in Europe to defend the championship, but they let me go on this trip, and I really appreciate it with Klimpbergen Way, exclusive cars and all the other ones.
Well, Jim still managed to finish number 4 despite missing half the season, but Mike Malmgren, Jan Palmqvist and Mickey Colleen make up the top 3.
If you like your motorbikes, carrying lots of horsepower, almost making the earth feel as though it's moving backwards, it's your turn to watch this now. It's Top Fuel Super Twin Bike.
Well, Super Twin bike, a real tough class to run in. From Great Britain in the near lane, that's the Cannon, Chris Hannum, out qualified with his supercharged Super Twin. If they ever get the combination sussed on that bike, it's going to be so quick. Launches like an absolute bandit, but sadly falls off after that. No team works harder than them. We really hope for Great Britain and everybody else, they get it sorted out soon. Here's Chris.
So I'm with Chris Hannum, but everyone calls you Cannon, and you are the only British guy riding in Super Twin. How is the weekend going for you, Chris?
Well, we've just made a lot of really massive changes to the bike, upgraded the fuel system, timing system, new MSD ignition, and we've run this bike for 3 years, and everything we've learned we've thrown in the bin because it didn't make enough power, and we're starting again. And the last run has just done something it's never done in its life. We've just actually slipped the clutch, and we've never done that before. So I'm very happy. Although we didn't win or we didn't make the cut, we've just made some power.
So with those changes and then letting it all go and getting the power, what more is in that bike?
Well, the bike is a very, very unique bike. It's a billet engine. It's basically a quarter of a top fuel car engine. It runs top fuel car pistons, top fuel car conrods, top fuel car crank, and it's a unique 4-valve dual overhead cam, where all the other twins are all pushrod Harley engines. We believe that this will run higher RPM, therefore making more power, and obviously we believe will run in the 6.5 zone with me on it, which is where the benchmark is at.
Well, there is a thread running through the whole of this programme, and it's the championship is what it's all about. In the near lane, Hans-Olaf Olstad. The man on the other side, Job Hazen. Both of these guys, one of 3 that can win the title. Hans-Olaf qualified much further up the order than Job Hazen this weekend, but it's all about racing on Sunday. Hans-Olaf runs out of the same pit area as defending champ Per Bengtsson. Per's not in the title chase this year. He could be a big spoiler for the top 3.
So this is really unique in Super Twin. We've got a pit that is being shared by a Swedish rider and a Norwegian rider, and both of you have had very different fortunes today, haven't you, Per? So you start off.
Yeah, okay. We had one run, 6.62, but that was okay. But the last one, we expected much more, so we are really disappointed.
That must be quite hard because, Hans, you've had a great day.
Yeah, we did a 6.74 and a 6.78. So we still tune the bike, but we seems to get into it now.
And everyone's still friends in the pit?
Always friends, of course. We have a big tent championship too, so we need to win it.
So what is this about the tent championship?
It's easier to win the European Championship than the 10th Championship. That's for sure.
Well, we've already seen Hans-Olaf Olstad and Job Hazen qualifying. The other man who's looking to take the title in the far lane from the Urbacher team, Lawrence Stobler, flying that bike all the way down the racetrack. Look where the front wheel comes down in the 6.60s in qualifying. What does he think of his chances?
So this is the Lawrence Stobler that we all know and admire on the Super Twin bike. Your #1 qualifier and your #1 in the championship at the moment.
Yeah, so far it looks very good for us, and we are really looking forward to the race tomorrow.
Now in the last qualifying run we saw you as straight as an arrow, so what can you go on to do in the eliminations?
Well, we hope we can continue with these straight runs we have made so far on this race, and it really feels good now on this track.
Lo, the championship title is really within your grasp. Are you going to be able to raise the trophy this weekend?
We just want to win the championship, and now the race is not so important for us, but we just work on the consistency this time. We don't go for any records or low ETs or so. We just want to be consistent.
Well, he has been consistently quick so far. In round 1, he takes on Jan Sture Hegra in the first round matchup. The other 2 biggies, Per Bengtsson and Martin de Haas, Hans-Olaf Olstad, the real big one of the round against Job Hazen. But the first run is going to be Jan Sture Hegra, a rookie this year, his first ever time on a Super Twin this summer, up against the experienced campaigner, Lo Stubler. Had an awful lot of work overnight.
Yeah, well, Jan Sturla Hegra has done really, really well. He's outperformed and out-qualified quite a few well-known riders, but on this one, Lawrence Storbel making no mistake at all. Look at that, a 6.4. But didn't he say he wasn't going to try and go any quicker? 6.4 to a losing 6.6. Hey, the prospective champ is back in town, isn't he? Look at this, and just look at the way his bike weaves about all over the track. Great run from the man from Switzerland.
Absolutely superb race as well. Jan Sturla Hegra running the quickest that bike has ever run in his first season riding the bike. He's done so well for that team, but it is low with his personal best as well by a tenth of a second, that was. So much for the taking it easy stuff, eh?
Well, there you are, indeed. And the next pair coming out puts Finland in the shape of that man, Samu Kampanainen, against Trond Heberget. And Trond doing very well here this weekend. Number 4 qualifier, Samu from Finland. Of course, Trond is from Norway, Samu from Finland, the number 5 qualifier. And just nothing but choose between the two of them. And here we go, look at this, front wheels in the air. Who's going to take the win here? It is Trond Heberget who gets the win. Hey, another great race.
Amazing whole shot win as well. Look at those two, both drifting to the left. That's Samu Kampanen trying to keep the bike off the centre line. Even the start line crew leaning over, going, go on, you can do it. Trond just took it on the finish line by the smallest of margins. That was a whole shot win for him. I think Samu Kampanen as well, only 164 miles an hour. That bike can run so much faster than that. It could have been that much closer. But talk about David and Goliath this time. Per Bengtsson, defending champ, up against Martin de Haas. Now, Martin is in as an alternate. He didn't even qualify, John.
Yeah, indeed. And Per Bengtsson, of course, we were listening to Chris Hannum saying about his engine being a quarter of a funny car engine. The difference with Per Bengtsson is his is a parallel twin, not a V-twin. And he had so much potential here this weekend, but it all goes wrong on the start line. Martin de Haas, the man from Holland, takes the win with a 7:45, and Per Bengtsson, all he can do is just dribble across the finish line. Look, it all goes wrong right on the start line, and Martin, not running great numbers, but takes the win.
Consistency, what does it in drag racing as well? Look at that, 7:45. Per Bengtsson, that's got to be an awful long roll to the finish line after that race, especially watching his opponent go through with, shall we say, a not completely competitive time compared to the rest of them. But round 1 matchups, this is the biggie. One of the championship contenders goes home right here.
Yeah, indeed. So here he is, another very, very tall man. This is Job Hazen coming up against the flying man. I always watch Hans-Olav Olsted when he races. The front wheel hardly ever touches terra firma. Look at this all the way through, and it's going to be Hans-Olav who takes the win. He's through into the next round, a 6.71 to a losing 6.99. We're seeing some fabulous racing from these super twins. And away from the start line, it was Job Hazen who got away first, but then Hans-Olav comes motoring by and takes the win.
Well, that was a lot closer at the finish line than the ETs would suggest. Job Hazen led the championship for most of the summer. Was almost never headed, but right at the line, Hans-Olav gets him. That's his season over. He won't be number 1. So Hans-Olav's up against Martin de Haas. Lawrence Storbel takes on Trond Heberget. If all goes to plan, it will be a race for the title in the final. But this is drag racing. It hardly ever does that, does it?
No, you're so true. And here we go then for a place in the final. On the orange and black machine, that is Lawrence Storbel. And of course, Lawrence has been champion before, operates out of the Urbacher pit, up against Trond Heberget, and look at this. Whoa, that huge crash back down to earth. Lots and lots of smoke coming out of that machine. Trond has lost the race on the start line. It's a win for Lawrence Storbel. But hey, do you think that has hurt the bike? That was a huge crash back down to earth.
Well, it looks like something, when that bike does that, it just drops out of the sky, really. That's around about where the 1-2 gear changes, so just speculation. Maybe he broke the gearbox. So Lawrence Storbel goes into the final, keeps his championship hopes alive of a rather soft run, to be honest with you. You wouldn't expect him to get through that against Trond, but he does. He's in the final. Let's see if it can be a race between him and the man on the lightning bike, Hans-Olav Olsted. Standing in his way is that man there, Martin de Haas.
Yeah, well, Martin hasn't got too much form in this class, but this time around, he makes it count. Problems for the man from Norway, and Martin de Haas finds himself in the final. He'll be amazed to be there and taking it with a 7.4. Everybody else who's winning these races is running in the 6s, but Martin is there with that low sort of time. Hey, he's going to be fighting Lawrence Staubel in the final.
Well, considering he was actually an alternate, a DNQ, he came into the field because the man from the Netherlands, that was Roel Kudan, couldn't make it in, and he's in the final. So it's him and Lawrence for the title, but Lawrence already is champion.
Yeah, indeed. So well done. So that's a double whammy for the Urbacher squad, of course. They've not only got it in Top Fuel, they've also got it in Top Fuel Super Twin, but problems for Low Staubel. He's offered the bike. It's going to be Martin de Haas all on his own in the final.
Well, would you believe it? You would not have bet anything on this at the start of the weekend, especially from the alternate. All these bikes running so quickly, and Martin de Haas takes a solo for the European Finals event win. Wow, they're definitely going to party like it's 1999 from the outhouse to the penthouse. Perfect example. Martin de Haas takes it with a 7.3 second run.
Here you are, knocking out all the big boys.
Yeah, well, nobody would have guessed this in the beginning, up front of this weekend. I guess all the luck in the last 2 years and all the mishaps, now finally we had all the luck in one weekend. And, well, yeah, then everything falls to pieces. Yeah, great.
Now, is the bike running exactly as you now want it?
No, we'll be struggling. We bought it 2 years ago together with the NPM guys, and luckily they've been backing up us for 2 years, because we're really trying to get in the top 8 to qualify every race, and we're nearly there. So we're 9th or we're 10th, so we're getting there, but it needs to run in the 6s easily.
Confirmation, your new champ of the Urbacher squad. Low Staubel number 1, Hans-Ola Falster ended up number 2, Joe Payson number 3.
Well, what an amazing weekend it's been. John and I and thousands of people have witnessed a spectacle on this SantaPod Raceway. We've had records, we've had unbelievable sunshine. It's just been non-stop action, hasn't it, John?
Oh, it has. And the racing, let me tell you, the racing has been absolutely amazing. As Abby said, new record set, but there's been such close racing in every single class. This is why drag racing is so perfect when the sun shines.
How can we possibly beat it in 2011? I'm sure we will. We'll see you next year.